Say that again.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. It was kind of muzzled at the beginning.
Oh, probably. So it came on. All right. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm
I had to
good.
switch all my technology around. I was actually at work today, so then everything was unplugged.
Oh, okay. I feel like that name should sound familiar. Zach Stelly. Is he always like first one there?
Maybe.
Okay, so I've made you co-host now of the meeting too.
Awesome. Now I have all the power.
There you go.
I'm going to mute people.
You can become my problem. Like, are we having problems? Yeah, Pamela must have did something. I don't know.
I don't know what Pam did. It's that wine she's drinking. I mean,
Exactly. Oh, there you do have one. Oh, good for you. I was trying to be
but I also
good.
have a water and a salad. So like
Oh,
we gotta balance our bad with our good.
exactly. You know
So
what? I do miss. I've always said the food that was served at the meetings. I always thought they were good.
me too. I do miss the meetings. I miss the networking, and being together and face to face. I'm not an extrovert, but I am dead center between extrovert and introvert. I don't have a lenience really towards either.
Oh, okay.
So like I like to go to the meetings and stuff, but I also like to stay home.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Whereas my husband is like well into the introverted side. He's in IT.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, "No, this is great for me. We're good. We don't need to change anything." Let's see. Prime Marie Powell.
Prime Alchemy. Oh, well, that's our speaker, right?
Is that that's what I was wondering.
I think so. Let me admit. You haven't met her, right?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay, yeah, you come in right after she had logged off.
Yes, I was leading the PMP exam prep.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, Marie.
Hi, Marie.
Hello. I had to get off mute.
My name's Pam. I'm the president, and I'll be introducing you tonight.
Hi, Pam. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for coming and speaking to our chapter.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Can I validate how I pronounce your last name?
Sure.
Is it Genevieve?
No, that's
Oh.
not my last name. My last name is Pawlak, Pawlak.
P-A-W.
And my actual first name is Marie Genevieve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Marie's easier. It's not as much of a mouthful, so it's fine.
No, I get it. I gave one of my kids 4 names. So
Yeah.
and everybody's always combines the middle 2 names. I'm like, no, it's 4 names, guys.
Like they're separate.
It's separate.
Yeah. Well, my parents gave me the one, but the other is a family name, and so it's reversed. So the family name is actually Marie, but so my actual given name is Genevieve. But when I started school, the nuns were like, well, this is your first name, so that's your name. And they thought I was deaf because I never responded to Marie. I had never heard it.
That's funny.
You're like,
Like, who's that?
Yeah, I was like, who's that? And why are they not answering the teacher? Like, what's happening?
That's kind of funny. I like that. That's a good story.
Yeah, it's an unfortunately true story, but, but yeah, I guess.
I like stories like that. I feel like it gives character.
It does. It took me a while to sort of get over that, the whole trauma of that as a kid, but now I'm like, it's fine.
That's funny. Trying to figure out, I just accidentally messed up how I oh, am I sharing my screen?
You are.
Well, I mean, I got the roll deck going.
Okay. There we go. For some reason, I wasn't seeing all of you guys, and I like to see everyone.
Oh, okay.
That's how I roll. Reading over my notes.
Oh, sorry.
That's your reminder to get on?
Yes.
I know I was trying to get out of work today, and I was like, I gotta go, guys. Like, come on. It's like, we gotta wrap this up. Oh, and this is the first time, Ruben, I don't have to because before we only had one host, so I had to
right.
pass the host.
Yeah.
I don't have to have that fumbling moment. I just have to talk.
Wow,
high five. The less work I have to do, probably the less likely I am to mess something up.
Oh, that reminds me, I better make Marie a co-host here so she can start sharing when she's ready.
And so, Marie, let me ask you, would you prefer as questions come in, do you want me to pause, or do you want me to save all the questions that come in till the very end and have just a QA time?
Oh, no. I really love interaction. So
okay,
interrupt me.
If I find a good pause moment,
or just interrupt. That's fine.
Yeah. So I'll give you a heads up. Sometimes our group is not overly question heavy. So if they don't ask questions throughout it, it's not you, it's this group.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, so we do have a couple people who try to like really pay attention and help us with the Q&A time and flow some of the questions. But yeah, so if I see, I'll kind of be like, hey, so we can get those answered.
Oops, I just started the slide and I'm not. All right, there we go.
Yeah, Christy was telling us today that she's taking tonight as a breather because she's on every event. And she's like, man, after talking to her today, I kind of want to call in now. I go, well, if you call in, it's for your own good, not to help Ruben or I out. I speak for myself, Ruben, when I say that.
Oh, no, I totally agree. As a matter of fact, I just sent her a quick note to say, everything's running great, enjoy your night. Don't worry about it.
And then we'll tell you, we missed you so much.
Exactly, right?
But we were good.
It went the best that it ever has. So I don't know, what does that mean?
Oh, no, that's not nice.
Oh, that's exciting. I will ask Ruben, when we get ready to start, will you pause our slide deck on the 2021 chapter leaders? What are we called? The board? It's like it looks like the duplicate slide.
The one with the new finance rep?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Because that's the only change we had.
Yeah.
I need to send out a mass email too. On that. Then I probably.
So how often does your group meet?
So we do nightly meetings like this once a month. We also have a Lunch and Learn series that Bobby, our VP of Publicity, has put on. So that meets once a month as well. He also does the interviews, like he did your interview live, right? Yeah. Last week. So he does that with his Lunch and Learn people. He's trying to do it with also our chapter meeting, nightly meetings, and then he's trying to interview some of us board members as well. So, and then right now we also have a PMP exam class going on, and we meet twice a week for that. So we're hopping right now because we used to just have the classes and then we would have our once a month meetings. And then we have some people in the community that does quarterly lunch and learns, but it's really ran, they're a member of the chapter, but it's ran individually. They kind of own it. Okay. So we've really, in the last 3 months, upped our offerings for our chapter members.
That's good. That keeping them engaged through this platform.
Yeah, and when we used to meet in person, we would have 25 to 35 people at the nightly meetings, and one of our lunch and learns, we had over 60 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so really starting, I think we have only 25 tonight, probably with board members, we'll have a few extra, but that's mostly, I think, because we just had our PDD 2 weeks ago. And then I think we had a lunch and learn either right before that, right after that. So it was kind of bam, bam, bam. But yeah, so it was, we really are starting to ramp up those offerings.
That's good. I know people are looking, they are actually looking for a lot more interaction just because of the nature of things. So.
That's
yeah.
right.
It's super hard too to make sure that you're staying active out there and getting information. And now we're all on Zoom or other platforms all day long. On my way home, I was talking to a girlfriend. I was like, okay, well, I just wore a mask and had a headset on for like the last 9 hours, but I'm going to go do the headset some more. So like, we're going to, I did to one of my friends, I had my hair down yesterday. I was like, the mask, earrings, long hair, headset. I was like, too much. It's just too much for me.
That I understand.
Which now I'm like, oh, I should take out my earrings.
Let me get my door closed.
Well, there is an omit all, so we can just do all of them at one time. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoom has really upped its game, so that's good.
Yeah, and we were using PMI Global has a WebEx that we normally use, but then we started using, my husband and I, when all of COVID ramped up, we actually bought a like small business Zoom that we pay for because it's only $15 a month, and we use it with all of our friends and all of our groups that we're part of. So we were using some of that, and it just, now that we're having so many events, I think it was more hectic for like Ruben and Christy to coordinate all those different avenues of trying to get a Zoom or a WebEx, and it's just so much easier to have it on our own. I think it's a really good spend that we did.
Oh, definitely. It's working out great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy with it. In the class, the PMP class today gave me feedback that things are so much easier now that there is like one Zoom, because we had instructors also asking, using their own personal Zoom. So they were getting different links from different things, and it was just a little bit overwhelming, I think.
Yeah, that's too much for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we're not doing Slido, so I'm gonna not announce that.
You said you did have some rolling or questions, right? That we're going to poll.
For me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. With Poll Everywhere, I'm going to use that, which you experienced earlier.
Okay.
Questions, but I use everything that I do it intentionally so that people get to experience it, so that they can use it for their teams.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I will tell them. Actually, I'm glad you said that, because I forgot to look at the price in my notes. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Hey, Bobby.
I let Bobby in. He's been good so far. So.
I mean, I guess we'll let Bobby in.
I know, right? Hey, what's going on, Bobby?
I like your background today.
That's to hide very messy home office.
I was going to say, I'm showing my home office here. It's actually not too bad right now. The floor is not covered with like kid stuff.
Bobby, I actually thought that was your place. I was like, why you have a big table with chairs all around?
Put my back towards the table.
It looks real.
I always get comments on my TV and my lighting. They're like, are you at work? I'm like, no, this is a bedroom in my basement. That we turned into an office. It never got a chance to be a bedroom. We put it in with the intent of having a guest room, and then COVID hit, so now it's an office. Hopefully no kids show up and I end up with a naked kid behind me, because that's happened. Right?
Exactly.
Right? It's like, then today, when it was a coworker that my kid did that to, and so today I was at work, and one of my other coworkers got behind me, and I'm just talking away, don't even know he's there, and he's like wiggling himself, acting like he's the naked kid, and that person's just like crying. I'm like, what's going on? She goes, you have a naked kid behind you. I was like, what? I was like, Matt, go sit down. We just went from all private offices to a shared space. So there's a lot of hazing that's happening.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
About an hour before this, I did a presentation that's called, it's How to Kill Your Coworkers Using Zoom. And we were talking about the naked kid. That's what made me laugh, because we were talking about that.
Really happened. I'm not gonna lie. 5-year-old butt naked, like where that red thing is. Luckily it was my coworker who I'm close with, who's a mom and is female, so it was a female child, and we weren't recording. I was like, so now it's just the laugh of like my office. I'm like, oh man, this is rough. Oh, Sandra's on.
Yeah. Should we just go ahead and admit now?
I'm going to admit Sandra so I can say, hey, girl.
There you go.
I'm going to let Kate in. Maybe give it just a couple more minutes and then we'll admit everyone.
Sounds good.
Sandra, I totally brought you in early so I can say hi. She may not have a mic on.
Hey, Pam, and everybody. Hey.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Missing you guys.
I know we miss you too.
Again. I miss everybody except Ruben, so you know.
What? Oh, come on.
How you doing?
See, I told you we shouldn't have admitted her. I'm telling you.
I was like, ooh, Sandra, I'm going to admit her. He's like,
Oh, I bet.
No, it's all good. How you been doing, Sandra?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Just looking forward to this meeting. That's for sure. So,
Yeah.
good
We'll
stuff.
have a good night tonight.
Indeed.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Hey, Kate.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
My jogger was green and I was talking, but nobody was responding. Wow, you guys are so rude.
I know, we totally are.
That's how Pam is. That's how she rolls.
I know it.
I'm a pretty rude person. Just ask the kids that show up naked behind me how rude I am. Be really rude in that moment, and my head can block that camera pretty quickly, I found out.
Well, and you got some pretty good feedback for being the MC of the PD.
Oh, yeah. I was laughing at that. I was like, yeah, I got good marks for MC.
You did.
I think I got pity scores.
I gave you a 5.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I didn't take it. I guess I didn't register technically, so but I didn't take it.
I don't remember how many people did register. Do you know?
It was like 65.
Yeah, it was close to 70.
Yeah.
Well, 30 responses. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really pleased with the responses. I think the day overall went well. I think as a group, we need some lessons learned.
Well, I've got a list of them.
Oh. We'll unpack that. It's always good to do, some lessons learned, and also talking to like Jim Carth and Krath. I never can pronounce his last name. Just some good ideas for next year and stuff. So,
nice.
Had a productive meeting with them last week. So
good.
All right. Do we want to let all these people in? Hey, Redney, did you make anything amazing for dinner? Doritos. I have a little salad left that I'm chewing on and a glass of wine. I said you got to take the good and the bad together. I think you're on mute.
I'm making turkey burger. Actually, I already made it last weekend. I froze it, and I made it from scratch, by the way. And I'll put out my recipe on that.
Awesome, because
I made my 100 subscriber.
We love to make turkey burgers at our house, so I just kind of throw a bunch of stuff together. So no real recipe.
Basically.
Thank you for those who are joining us tonight. We are still about 5 minutes until the start time. So if you just hold tight, we'll get started here in a little bit.
Do you prefer we use video or not?
I will challenge you guys to have your cameras on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your challenge is accepted. However, I'm still eating my Doritos.
I mean, I'm over here eating on camera.
All right, then.
For like the past 15 minutes, that's what she's been doing.
Hey, Ruben, congratulations on your AWS.
Hey, man, thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh, you passed, Ruben.
I
Are
did.
you sure that they didn't give you the 70 to pass?
Oh, come on.
Congratulations.
Hey,
all
Sandra,
good.
did you start your FLMI yet?
What did you say?
Your FLMI.
Oh, the FLMI. Oh, brother, I need to talk to you one of these days. Yeah, it's interesting. That's all I can say. I order my PMI ACP material last week to start studying for that certification. So there is a group of people with State Farm that are studying together to get that certification. So I will touch base with you on that one too.
Oh. Just let me know. I have all the designations out there.
I hear you.
While we're waiting for to get started, if you want in the chat, why don't you guys throw where you're located and what field you work in. So if it's insurance, healthcare, whatever that is, to see kind of who we got represented here tonight. All right, we are at the top of the hour, and if project managers are anything, they are on time. Most of you were here a few minutes prior, so I appreciate that. We're going to start tonight with some announcements, so thank you everyone for joining. I'm Pamela Clapp. I'm the chapter president. You'll see a lot of your chapter board members are online tonight, and they have probably after their name, their role, some are volunteers as well. If you have any technical problems, you'll see Ruben. He's on there as you can find him. So he is who you can reach out to. So a couple things. I would challenge you that if you have your name as something else on your little box or whatever that some of us have our video on, change it to something that you're searchable on LinkedIn. So normally we have the opportunity to connect with each other in person, and here we don't have that so much, but we can still make sure that we can find each other, and if we want to reach out and network, we have that availability. I do challenge you to turn on your camera if you have them. I know probably for Marie, it's a lot easier to talk to some faces than just a blank screen, and she's saying yes. Go ahead and flip those on. I'm eating dinner, so you know, there you can eat, it's fine. And then I just want to let you guys know that we are having such a transformative year. Like everyone else with COVID, we've gone completely virtual, but we've also had some great new things come out of this. We've had a lunch and learn series that we're now holding. There's been live interviews that we've been doing on our Facebook pages. It almost seems like weekly, and I think we had two last week. So we have a lot more going on in our chapter. So if you are interested in getting involved in our chapter, feel free to reach out to us. There is a volunteers tab on our website, or you can just email me, president@PMICIC.org. I had to think about my own email, and just reach out to us. We have lots of ways that you can help. If planning meetings is your thing, if taking notes is your thing, if IT, anything, we really have it across the board. So reach out to us if you're willing to give back to the community. We would really appreciate that. A couple other announcements. We have partnered with CPS Media for sponsorships and marketing of your product and services. If you are interested, please reach out to the VP of Publicity at PMICIC.org, and that is Bobby, for questions about those sponsorship opportunities. Thank you, Bobby. We also have a new job portal in partnership with CPS Media as well, and that's on our PMP CIC site under the Job Bank landing page. So there is a embedded hyperlink for PM local jobs out there. If you miss a webinar, you can later also view at your convenience on the Facebook page. You just search for PMI CIC. Before we get started, I also just want to encourage you, please ask questions. It's always a great interactive time, and we're kind of a smaller group tonight. Throw them in the chat box. Ruben and I are going to try to help watch for those questions and flag Marie during the presentation or at the end where it makes sense for those questions to come up. So feel free to reach out to us with those. And then, so our speaker, Marie, specializes in teams in crisis. She works on teams leadership, employee experience, team process, and operations. She has dedicated herself to helping team leaders create meaning in their own lives and in their organizations, which results in motivated and engaged employees, customer commitment, and bottom line performance. Her mission is to inspire a better workplace for everyone. Her talks are witty, interactive, and meaningful. She has done her master's in organizational leadership from Lewis University in Romaville, Illinois, and she is also a certified coach from ICF. Marie led multifunctional teams as leadership coach and co-VP of operations for the 4th largest abrasive manufacturing companies in the world. She was the VP of Student Services for a multi-state educational system, working as an international relations expert in Japan and the Midwest strategist for ED Fund. So without further ado, we have Marie. And oh, I did forget one announcement. Thank you, Ruben. So we did have our elections, and the results of those elections are listed for you on the screen. So we did have one change in our board from last year, or this year, the 2020 into 2021. We are sad to say that Kate is retiring from our board, but we are excited that Karen is going to step in for her. So those election results will also be emailed out to you. So thank you for all those who participated. And without further ado, Marie, I'll let you take it over.
Thank you. Well, let me share my screen. I think that worked. Yeah, that worked. All right, so today's topic was something that I thought was really interesting and fun that you guys requested, which was around what you're doing right now, which is being virtual and having your teams go virtual. And what does that mean, and how do you lead a virtual team? So this is going to be interactive, so please interrupt me at any time. So as we all know, this is our new reality. We look at people in boxes on our computers. This is kind of how we're connecting with each other. We're all working from different locations. Some of us are in offices, but the majority of us are in our homes. And so life is moving fast. So how fast are you moving? So think about before COVID, how fast change initiatives happened, and now. So in the chat, or if you want to get off mute, tell me, how fast are things going for you right now? Sam?
Oh, I would just say that things are coming at me every day. How can we change? How can we innovate? How can we move faster? I work in healthcare, so it is changing day by day. What are our new priorities? So
yeah, it's lightning speed that things are happening to all of us, especially in healthcare division. So for sure. And if there are any comments in chat, because I don't think I can see the chat right now.
yeah, so we have no slowdown despite lockdown, very fast. Karen says warp speed. I would second that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality, oh, something just happened to my, and the reality is that that's not really going to change. So in one or two words, if you want to access the Poll Everywhere, if you have the app on your phone, you can use mpawlak at 796. The website is pollev.com and then /mpawlak at 796. One or two words, describe how you've been feeling over the past 8 months. Can you believe it's been 8 months since some of us have been outside in the world together? It's crazy. It's gotten insane. And part of the reason why I'd like you to do it on this particular platform, yeah, that is a good word, is to also have you be able to use this platform. This is a great way to connect with your teams. Sometimes we have to have difficult conversations. It's a little bit difficult to do that when you are in your home, when you have kids and pets running around. So this is it's free, it's a good sort of system to be able to start to do this and then not feel like you always have to answer the situation. So I love these words coming in. Blindsided, that's good. Claustrophobic, I loved claustrophobic. I feel that. And like I said, this is free. So you have 0 to 25 people. You can use this platform for free. I do not work for them. I'm not advertising for their platform. I just use it for polling and for some other things. If you've got 26 to 700, it's about $12 a month for the platform. So, but I would recommend using the free version. It's very functional. As you can see, you can do all kinds of different polls, and we're going to do a couple during the course of this. So as we were talking about the reality of this pandemic, this is Angelique Urez happens to be my my mentor, and something that she has said is that the genie's not going back in the bottle, and that's the reality. We are going to be in a world that we are either going to be in the office or virtual. So it's going to be a hybrid situation. Hopefully we'll be able to go out into the world again, but the reality is that how we work has changed, and the rate of change and the speed that we work has changed. And that's not going back to the way it was. And so, you know, when we think about the rate of change, things that would normally take years for us to do, it's taking days, it's taking weeks, in some cases it's taking hours to do those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So here's our agenda. We're going to talk about the truth from working from home and some of the funny things that happen to us when we work from home, some different ways that we can meet, how we can have performance review meetings. I'm sure a lot of you are starting to think about that if you are leaders of teams, or if you're on a team, some of that has started to come up. And then we're going to talk about an action plan. So let's do it. Let's talk about these virtual meetings. Most of us feel like we're being murdered on Zoom. How many Zoom meetings did you have today? So if you could put in the chat the number of Zoom meetings that you had today, I will prove that we've been trying to kill people using this platform. Let's see what we have. Oh, I got to open it. Oh, someone said a gazillion, 14-hour. Well, oh no, not Zoom, but 11 virtual. Yes, it could be any platform, not just Zoom. Yeah, 10 Skype, 3, 5. Yeah, you can see just by looking at your colleagues the number of meetings that we have on this platform. And the reality is that we have so many meetings on this platform, we do things to people during these meetings that we should not do to them. We cause them to feel like they're going to die of boredom, right? So this is from Boss Baby. It's just one boring meeting after another. You know, the truth is Zoom and all the other platforms are not really meeting platforms. They should be looked at as more than a meeting platform. It should be a way to connect with each other. So think of it more as a connective tool, which is, you know, what Pam talked about having everybody on the camera so we could all see each other. It's a way for us to connect. The reality is that we don't just connect through our words, we connect through our actions. So you know, at the bottom of my screen, I see Lance was laughing at the Boss Baby. So, you know, I'm seeing that he's engaged. I see Ruben sort of smiling, going, yep, that's true. So think of it that way. So when you're meeting with people, try to get them to at least get on screen. You know, if you feel like, oh, my office is a mess, or the space I am is a mess, use the backgrounds. They're perfectly fine to use. People totally get the idea of the backgrounds if you don't want people to see your space. So we have some unique ways that we're connecting and some unique challenges. We're in different locations. Sometimes we're in different time zones. I crossed that out because sometimes, you know, like in this case, you guys are probably all in the same time zone. I'm going to make that assumption since it's Central Illinois. It's about building trust and opening communication. That becomes really difficult. Like, how do I build trust with someone that I'm not actually physically in the same room with? And I can't really read their body language, because sometimes I'm only seeing this much of them. Sometimes it's only this much. Yesterday, I only saw that much of someone because they didn't realize where their camera was. So that was pretty interesting. They kept going, don't you see my face? I'm like, no, but I do see your balding on top. I mean, it's not personal. I just happened to notice that. Then it's also, how do we help our teams when they're remote? You know, how do we help them to connect? Because they were together in a space and now all of a sudden we're all at home. And then now this time of year, performance reviews. How much fun is that to be able to have a conversation with someone about their performance on this platform while their kids are running around? So much fun, right? So let's talk about building trust. So one of the ways that you can really help to build trust and to build that sense of community is to really start having mini meetings on this platform. And during those mini meetings, you could use a tool that actually comes from Patrick Lencioni. How many of you have heard of Patrick Lencioni and the 5 dysfunctions? Okay, I see a few hands up. So this exercise actually comes from that. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to just do a little mini version of it because we can't do everybody. And here are the questions. And I would recommend that you do this with your team. And if you want the actual action guide, I can speak English, really, I can. I'm happy to give that to you. So the questions are going to be, where are you from? How many siblings do you have and where are you in the birth order? And tell us about a childhood experience. All right, who's brave?
I'll go.
Okay.
So this is Cassandra.
Hi, Cassandra. Where are you from?
I'm a couple hours south of here, Quincy, Illinois.
Okay. How many siblings do you have?
I am one of 5. So
Where are you in the birth order?
I am second from the top.
Okay. Oh, all right. So not quite a Marsha Jan Brady situation, but
There's 7 years then between me and my next younger sister. So 3 are still kind of like my first kids.
Yeah, so definitely more of a big sister situation for sure.
For sure.
So tell us about a childhood experience.
Well, so, okay. Actually, the visually just came to mind thinking of the 3 little kids when I was a kid. So we lived in Congerville, and there was a little grocery store that was in Congerville. It's a town outside of Bloomington Normal, if you're not familiar with it. And when I was growing up there, it was only like 200 people. But it actually had this old-time little grocery store. And so my mom would send me up to get like a gallon of milk or whatever. And I remember one time my little siblings wanted to go with me. And so I ended up let's see, so they were all 3 here. My littlest brother was about 2 because I was carrying him and pulling a wagon. So I would have been about 11. And my neighbors got the biggest kick out of me just walking down the road with my 3 little brothers and sisters and the gallon of milk, you know.
I can actually picture that. That's what's great about that story. Thank you so much for that story. Let me ask you a quick question. Okay. At work, do you tend to be the more caregiver of your team?
Oh, for sure. Servant leader all the way.
Yeah. So do you think that if your coworkers heard that story and like heard where you were in the birth order, they would immediately go, oh, that really explains why she tends to be the caregiver and tends to make sure everybody's okay?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty much, yeah, Cassandra's there to take care of anything, everything, anybody.
Well, Cassandra, first of all, I want to thank you for being brave and being the first person to do this and to indulge me with my questions. I really appreciate that. Can you see how just those 3 simple questions can really start to begin to build some trust within a group? Not too woo-woo, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't get into anything. I just did my harassment training at work too. And it was, you know, very caution about asking personal questions.
Right.
I really like this because it is a way to open up and get to know people on a personal level. But other than, you know, I mean, they can choose what that experience is, right? But it's most likely going to be a good one.
Well, sometimes it could be bad.
It could, you know, open up a whole new level.
Yeah, it could be bad. And I'll tell you, every time I do this with a group and we do the round robin, we go around and everybody does this. You know, at first, when you do it with engineers, there's always the eye roll. Sorry if there are any engineers out there. But then they get into it and they start to see some patterns. They start to go, oh, is that why you always expect me to bring the coffee in? Because, you know, your family always took care of you, those kind of things. And it's really lighthearted. And like you said, because of the harassment training, these are not super personal questions. You know, I'm not asking for you to name names in front of Congress. They're pretty simple. And so that way you're sort of like, you're not feeling too frustrated. We'll do one more and then we'll have to move on because we only have a limited amount of time. So we can't do everybody. Who wants to be the next one to go? You got to get off mute to do it though.
Can go.
Okay. So where are you from?
I'm from Bloomington, but I did not grow up here. I grew up in the Philippines.
Oh,
And I
okay.
moved to the States when in my mid-20s.
Oh, okay.
So we are five, actually six. One of my eldest sister died.
Oh, sorry.
She was very young, but I'm the youngest of six.
Oh, baby of the family.
I am the baby because every one of them were only either 1 year or even less than a year apart. But I was 4 years younger than my brother who's older than me.
Oh, okay. And tell us about a childhood experience.
So since I am the baby of the family and in our culture, it's really about ranking. So I am the least of all I'm the most, the powerless of everyone. So if you're the eldest, you can ask the one next to you, and the one next to you will ask the next to you. And then, so in the end, I will get all of it, all of the requests. But at the same time, since I'm the baby of the family, of course, I'm the favorite of my parents. They don't say that, but I am. So once they are home, once my parents come home from work, then I have all the power. So then it switches back.
I love that story. I love that story. And I have to say, I was watching your coworkers' faces, and when you said where you were in the birth order, their faces were like, oh.
I know, right?
They all of a sudden they're like,
there's something about youngest kids.
That was great. So thank you so much for doing that. So the original question, just to let you know, for this last one on the childhood experience was actually about a challenging experience, but I like to change it because some people don't have challenging experiences. So, why force them into doing it that way? So just so that you know. This actually really does help open lines of communication because you're starting to hear stories of your coworkers' childhood. You're starting to hear about their experience with their siblings. And if you're not an only child, you know that there's a lot of experiences with siblings. I think, we just got a great example of that in terms of ranking and birth order. So, and I can completely relate to that. So one of the other ways that you can help build trust is do something that we call a virtual walkabout. And the virtual walkabout is really about checking in with your team, with your coworkers, to see how things are going. And so it's about greeting everybody every single day. So if you are the leader, make sure that you connect with your team every single day. Start off with these 3 questions. And when you have the questions, personalize it to your team, but don't make them super personal. So that's the one thing you need to know. And how I do this with my team is that, I will ask them, how can I support you today? And then when I was doing it face-to-face, I would have my notebook and I would write out exactly what they said to me. But in this case, virtually, I just start off with the simple, how can I support you today? What do you need today? And then the last question is really, what's the one thing that you want to accomplish today that would make today a great day? That really helps people focus on their goals. I mean, I'm talking to a team of people right now that really work with setting up project goals and really setting up an understanding of being on time. So I'm kind of preaching to the choir a little bit. But if you work with outside teams, people that are outside of what you do, this is a great one to sort of help them figure out how to manage their time in a way that doesn't say, okay, I'm going to help you manage your time now. You over there, I see you. So, and then at the end of the day, express gratitude for the work that they've done. And then you end with 3 questions. Honestly, thank them, be very specific. So if Ruben did an amazing thing and Sandra was so pleased with him, which I don't know if that's true or not that she would be, but let's just pretend that she would be really pleased with them. She would be really specific and say, thank you so much, Ruben, for really helping me with my IT issue. If you hadn't been there, I would not have been able to coordinate this meeting. So that's very specific. So that really does allow him to see what a great asset he is to the team. And that's probably Sandra in the comments going, no, not a good asset. No. Is that true, Pam? Okay.
No, it looks like Ruben is asking Sandra to take some notes, please.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. I like that. That's good. That's good. Well
So
done.
we do have a question. Challenge now with everyone working remote full times. It seems like now there's no start or end to the day. So maybe how do you do that? We feel like we're always online now.
Yes, that is so true, because you don't really have the decompress of the commute, and you don't have the real set, like I have to be at my desk at 8 o'clock. I mean, honestly, you could roll out of bed and no one could notice. It was like 8:02 that I'm not talking from experience at all, like not at all. But that being said, one of the things that I would recommend is, as a group, talk about what is the agreed upon time that you guys are going to connect, and what is the agreed upon time that you're going to end. Because here's the problem. I've been working remote for many years prior to the pandemic. And I will tell you, one of the issues is that it's really easy to, at 5 o'clock, go downstairs, make dinner for the family, have dinner with them, and then come back to work. Like, it's really easy going, oh, I still had that one thing left to do. And then all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night and you're still working. And there's no one there to sort of stop you. Because the problem is, when you're at work, you can see people getting their coats and leaving, and you're like, oh, I need to get up and go too. Now there's nobody to do that. So really set a calendar for yourself and really honor that. Honor that, once the day is done, I'm really going to spend time with my family. Now, I recognize sometimes we don't want to spend time with our family, and hiding in our offices is a really fun way to avoid them. But I'm really suggesting that you don't avoid your family. You go out there and spend time with them. And as a leader, this is where the checkout is really good, because you can kind of force people to end their day. So if you've kind of said, like, people should end their work at 5 or 6, then maybe that's a good time to call them and go through this checkout process with them. So it sort of kind of puts a pin in it. Now, I do get the question, do I have to do this every day? If you have a team of individual contributors, it's good to check in with them every day. Because you would have checked in with them and checked out with them if you were in the office. You would have gone by their office. So if, Sandra and Ruben, I'm picking on you too, were in the office together, they would have gone by each other's office at least a couple times a day to either throw things at each other or have conversations, whatever, their dynamic is. So you want to kind of replicate that in this environment. And this doesn't take long. This can be literally a 5-minute conversation and then you're done. You don't have to do it over Zoom. You can pick up the phone. Remember, we all have these devices. They still exist. We can use them. We don't always have to do Zoom calls to do this. I hope that answers the question. And then remember that first question you had about what would make the day good. You end it with, what did you accomplish today that you got excited about? So sometimes the big accomplishment of the day is, I made the bed. And I'm really okay with saying that. That was my big accomplishment. I made the bed, because everything fell apart during the course of the day. It's okay to be that vulnerable. It's okay to say, I fed the kids. Everyone was fully clothed today. Which, if you have toddlers, that's actually not a true statement ever. But it's okay to make it just that broad. And it's okay for your team to do that. And these check-ins and check-outs will help you when it comes time to do your performance review, which we'll talk a little bit about. So the other thing to think about is that if you have a highly collaborative team, it's good to do a group check-in and check-out as a team instead of individually. But if you've got a lot of independent workers or people that don't really spend time with other people, do it individually. And, you know, be careful not to come across as big brother. This is not an opportunity to go, you know, what have you been doing all day? Did you do this project? It's not about that. This is really about connection. How do we build rapport with each other? How do we have a moment of sort of reproducing that water cooler that we don't get to experience because we're virtual? And then really think about this as a time to strengthen your relationships and also to help break down some barriers. And then always express gratitude for your team. They are working actually a lot harder than they were in the office because they have less distractions, to be perfectly honest with you, from like stuff in the office. And if they're trying to avoid their family, they're really, really huddled down working. So that's something. Not that I'm trying to avoid my family, honestly, I'm not. So
we do have a question in.
Sure.
So this question comes in and it says, since I support multiple teams and time zones is a challenge for me, I've heard people schedule their week only to work with certain teams one day a week. Is this good in theory?
It is good in theory. Now, the question really is talking about application, right? So in theory, it's really good to do that. Application, it gets a little bit tricky because you can't really schedule issues, right? So if my West Coast team has an issue, but you know, today's Monday and Monday is devoted to my East Coast team, I can't really say to the West Coast team, I'm sorry, Monday is not for you, Tuesday is for you, so sorry. So really what it is have those, you can have that schedule, but be really flexible when it comes to people's needs. That's the key for that. And I would say, when you're talking about devoting the time to the team, are you, and if you want to put it in the chat or come off mute, whoever asked that question, are you saying that that's when you're actually kind of checking in with that team, connecting with them, working with them? What does that mean to you?
So let's see if we get a chat. I know for me, even before COVID and virtual teams, I did, if I was working on several projects, several teams, I tried to stair step my major meetings on different days, right? So you knew that you were going to do your major communication with Project A on Mondays. However, you would have small touch points throughout the rest of the week, but your major maybe build sessions when you could, because sometimes you get into a testing event that last week, so you can't do that, but when you could. And she said, yes, that's what she means. Like, you're doing your major kind of stuff on one day and kind of then doing your lighter touch the rest of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. You should do that. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with letting the teams know that that's the schedule. You know, it's okay to say, like, Project A, our main meeting, our touch point is going to be on Monday, and Project B, your main meeting is on Tuesday, so that they're aware. And so if they need to make sure that they're bringing your attention to certain things, they know that the big meeting is going to be on day X. And then the little touch points can just be quick emails or a quick phone call, whatever, or, you know, if you're using a project management system that everyone is interacting in, then putting those notes in there can go out throughout the day. But that's really important. And it's actually kind of funny that we went there because it's really about boundaries. Now more than ever, we're letting people into our homes, and we really do need to establish some boundaries. So when we're meeting with each other, you know, have the cameras on so that people can see you and they can feel comfortable interacting with you. Make sure you're on mute if you're not speaking, unless it's a brainstorming session, and then have everybody get off mute. But set rules of engagement for each other in the team. Like, make sure everybody has the rules of engagement that they've come up with together so that they feel like they're part of that. And remember, it's okay to have fun. You know, we've got the minions here. You know, you've seen a lot of different pictures throughout this that are very lighthearted, because we're humans and we can't always be serious. So it's okay to have fun. It's okay to interact with each other in a jovial way, but set those boundaries as a group. That's the key takeaway from this. All right, what's happening in the chat? I see you guys laughing. What's going on?
So Cassandra said, nah, I just introduced everyone to my grandkids. And then she waited and said, just kidding.
My husband watches one of our grandkids during the week a few days. So, yeah.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
and he'll bring one up to visit, and it'll be like, anybody want to meet? Because my grandson's only like 14 months, and my granddaughter is just over 2. So.
Oh, that's perfect. I love
they provide lots of comedic relief.
I love that. That's perfect. That's really perfect. That is great. And that's a great lead into this. You know, the thing that we're missing is those water cooler moments. And it is important for us to have that comic relief. Although a 14-month-old would just be more cute relief than comic relief, I think, for sure. So I love that. So when we think about virtual leadership, we really have to think about it in terms of our individual leading of people, the team leading, and then the organization itself. And each of these have different needs. So as individuals, we have to make sure that we're offering a lot of encouragement and emotional support, because it is very, you know, earlier someone talked about being claustrophobic, and the reality is it can be. And for a lot of people who might be more outgoing, it's really difficult to be home alone and not with people. So when we think about our individuals, let's think about the fact that, you know, we have to think about how are they connecting? You know, how are they able to contribute? And some of the questions that we've gotten from people based on surveys, they want to know, like, how am I part of the team if I'm not in the space? How do I feel valued? And we're going to touch upon that one in a moment. And then how long will there be a job? Let's be honest, right now, the economy has been really crazy. People are really thinking about this. So with your individual teams, individual teammates, allow them the space to ask these questions. And if they don't, bring it up. You know, if you know that their jobs are going to be secure, bring it up and say, look, I don't want you to worry about it, or your job is going to be secure. If you know that there's some insecurity, be honest and say, you know, there are some insecurities, but we're going to work it out. We're going to make it through together. And this is where we're going to talk a little bit about values. So a lot of times people ask me, how do I get my employees engaged? How do I get my team engaged? And I'm here to tell you that you can't make someone engaged. Engagement is the result of the experience that they have with you. And do they feel valued? So the first real question is for someone to figure out where they are. Do I perceive, now remember, this is my perception, that the company values what I do? And if the answer is yes, I get 25 points. Do I perceive that my team values what I do? I get another 25 points, and that's 50. So I'm about 50% engaged. Do the people I serve value what I do? So my customers, and that can be internal or external customers. And lastly, do I see value in the work that I do? If I answer yes to all of these, I'm 100% engaged. Pretty simple, didn't have to do a big survey. Those 4 questions allow you to figure out whether or not your team is truly engaged, or your people are truly engaged, or yourself too. If you go below 75, then there might be a problem. If you say 0, we're in big trouble, and we probably have to have a different conversation. So as a team, what really your team needs is that they need time for social interaction in the remote. Now, some people have been doing like game nights. They've been doing like kind of after-hour drinking online. All those things are good. But the social interaction can be as simple as, you know, let's turn on Zoom and just start working on things and not really even talking to each other, but just knowing that you're working on the same thing I am and we're connecting. And every so often I pop my head up and I say, hey, have you figured out the solution for X? That is a way to interact, especially if you have teams that are used to working in the same space with each other. So some of the questions that your teams will have is simply like I just said, how do we work together? What about our jobs? Are we safe? So as people are going back into the offices, there are some concerns about safety. As people are thinking about, you know, are our jobs safe? That's another point of safety. So safety can be a lot of different things. And then how do we, as a team, how do we create goals and how we measure them in this new world? Because the truth is, if I'm done with the project after 3 hours, do I really need to spend 8 hours sitting at my desk? No. And so how we work has really changed as well. And for companies and organizations, it's really good to have the CEO of the company have town hall meetings on a monthly basis, to be honest with the teams, to talk to them about what's going on with the organization, talk to them about how long can they support the employment of people. You know, how are we making our revenue goals? You know, how do we acknowledge our employees and celebrate those small wins, which are things that we would have done in person that we now have to figure out as an organization, how do we do that virtually? And so to that point, we have to really look at this as an opportunity. You know, I talked a little bit about this idea of to not think of the workday as 8 hours, but really think of it in terms of project completion. And then have office hours for the team. So as a group saying, you know, we're committed to being available between this time and this time, so that there is a start and an end time. And then this is a great time to start taking some classes and developing some new skills. It really is. A lot of times people don't think about that, but this is a really great time. If there are any kind of classes that are being offered online, great time to take them. And as a team, you need a rallying cry, something that brings you together, that makes you want to work towards a goal together. So think about that. And remember, your emotions are really, truly contagious. They are contagious. So employees look to their leaders for the cues of whether or not they are in a psychologically safe environment. So that doesn't mean that you have to lie and say, I'm not scared, but it means that you have to be honest with your emotions, because people are really looking towards you to see how they should be reacting in these situations and in these difficult times. So think about that. And so to that end, we've kind of come up with a little acronym that's called BRAVE. So first, be kind. So Ruben, be kind to Sandra. I'm looking at you. Reorganize. It's okay to begin to reorganize and rethink how you do work and how you work together. Adapt to the fact that this is going to be constant change. Change is not going away, and change is coming fast at us. And then really focus on how do you visually communicate with people. You know, if you're a hand talker like I am, use your hands. It's okay. That's what people would experience if they were sitting in a room with you. Don't change who you are. Really focus on it. I'm in a visual environment, so that means that I have to be comfortable with visual communication. And encourage your team to be really open to what's going on and what's happening with them. And that's the BRAVE acronym right there. Pretty simple. And remember, we're struggling with not only our work, but our family responsibilities. So we have to have a lot of empathy for people in these times. Now, let's talk a little bit about performance reviews. Now I'm going to make a confession. I don't believe in performance reviews. I don't think they're good. So a good friend of mine and I, we created what we called expectation review meetings. And they're quarterly meetings that we have with teams, with our teams. And we talk to them not about what they did. We talk to them about what they're planning on doing. Because here's the reality. Having these conversations about what you did is not moving anybody's goals forward. So we talk about what's the next step for achieving the goal. So what's the goal? What's the next step for achieving those goals? How can we support you? What are the tools that you need for that? We also, in those conversations, have more personal conversations to allow us an opportunity to get to know the people that we're working with. What's your personal goal? What's your professional goal? How can I help you achieve that goal? What were some of the barriers that stopped you last time, which is the only backward-looking question? The rest of the questions are forward-looking to really talk about what are the next steps. And we keep the salary conversation very separate from the ERM conversation. So the salary conversation is about their past performance. That's a separate meeting. These are quarterly meetings to help people move along with the goals that they have to improve the bottom line of the organization and improve themselves. That's the focus of these meetings. So let's talk a little bit about some of the tips that you can provide as we look at this world that we're working in with our new coworkers. You know, we have a lot of situations with our new coworkers that are good and bad. We have, for example, meetings where we hear the letter of the day during the meeting. Today's letter of the day was W, in case you were wondering what the letter of the day was. And so, do you have any tips or tricks that you can provide this group on how to deal with our new coworkers? Or any funny stories?
Humor.
Humor. Yes, humor is key. Humor is key. Yes.
I think it's about the only answer, honestly, sometimes.
Yeah, it really is. And some empathy too. You know, recognize, you know, pets are going to be jumping on people's laps.
Yes.
You know, kids are going to be jumping on people's laps. The best thing I've seen is a CEO of a company have their 3-year-old jump on their lap and hit him on the head and call him a poopy head in the middle of a virtual town hall. Every person in his company was in the meeting. It humanized him so quickly, and people who did not like him before really liked him thanks to his little one calling him a poopy head. So,
And now they all call him Poopy Head.
yes, they do.
That's awesome. So people in the chat are saying have flexibility, just roll with it. I know I don't try to shoo my kids out of the room. I let them come and sit on my lap because that's what they need, and then they'll just go away after that. They'll get what they need and then they'll leave.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's probably one of the best things about everyone going virtual are the kids, to be honest with you, because they're, you know, I joke about that CEO, but the reality was that was a CEO that people did not see as human, and they did not really connect with him. And the moment that experience happened to him, not only did he start to get some empathy for his employees, but he really began to see the importance of connecting with people on a more personal level at work. Because if you think about it, we spend more time with our coworkers than we actually do with our families, you know, which is why there's some animosity between Ruben and Sandra, because they spend way too much time together. It's like siblings. They're like, ah. All right. Well, we're not going to do this in a poll because I think you guys are more interested in doing it in a chat. So in the chat, as we talk about different tips, what are some of the virtual tools that you've been able to use that has helped you connect with your team? So we talked about, like I showed you guys Poll Everywhere. We talked about some of the platforms that we use. We have Teams, we have Zoom, we have GoToMeeting. Why can't I think of the word? And I saw it earlier, Skype. So we have a lot of different platforms, but are there any other things that you're using that have been really helpful in terms of connecting with people? So this is where you guys have to talk and I don't have to talk so much.
So some people, so I had Slack came in, WebEx, Google Meet, group text. I know we've done a Jackbox game for one of our team meetings for team building. People have done Kahoot. People said MS Teams.
That's good. That's good. And there's a lot of low-tech stuff that you can do. So one of the things that we've done to kind of, and this is really a way to trick people to be on camera, when someone says something that you're not too happy with, you have your stop it, or when someone gets the concept, I got this. You know, you're like, does everybody got this? I got this. So you can make these, see, it's just a simple stick that the stir sticks from the paint, and you can make some signs that can really help kind of get people to get back on camera to make it more engaging. You can also get individual whiteboards where people can write on whiteboards, different things, and different collaborative whiteboards in the platforms are also helpful. So think a little bit creative in terms of, it doesn't always have to be a virtual tool that's high tech. Low tech tools are really great and really helpful. So for example, everyone usually has cards, playing cards at their home. You can use that if you have large groups that you're presenting to, have everybody bring playing cards, have them lay out 4 cards on the desk, and then have everybody present a card and show their card. The person with the highest card has to go first in terms of presenting, or the person with the lowest card has to go next. So you can use things that people have to make the meeting a little bit more interactive and trick people to get back on camera. That is the key. Ultimately, you need to have an action plan. Otherwise, you look like this poor woman. And we don't want that. So 1, collaborate with your family on the schedule that you have for work, because that's really important. Have your check-in and check-out meetings daily if you can, not only with your team, but with your family. Because a lot of times you're stuck in your space and your family doesn't see you. So it's important to make sure you're checking with the family periodically, because kids don't understand why mom or dad are in the room, but they can't interact with them. So keep that in mind. And then take regular breaks. So for every 90 minutes of work or 90 minutes on this platform, you take a break, okay? Because your brain can't handle this platform for a long period of time. So build those breaks in if you have long meetings. And then have a dedicated workspace or school space so that your kids and yourself cannot view the whole house as work. So if you can close the door, that's great. If you have a space where you can go, I can close the door and I'm closing the door to work. I have one person on one of the teams we worked with, she put a sheet around the area. And so she literally would just cover the table with the sheet, and that's how work went away. So something to do. And then reset your expectations of what this is like at work. I think we expect that we should be able to be in meetings for 8 hours or to be at our desk for 10 hours. You cannot do that. You have to get up. You have to go outside. And we're in Illinois, so we know it's going to snow soon. So get out now before you can't get out. And then if you want some reading materials that could really help you, here's a couple of books that we recommend. The first one is around trust. And then the second one is really about employee engagement. And so that really, these 2 books are great books. They're quick reads. They start off as a fable, and then the actual model is in the back. So these are 2 books that we recommend that you use. And then these are all the references for all the different things that we had in the presentation today. So I really want to thank all of you for the time. I'm going to leave you with an action item. What is the one thing that you're going to do tomorrow that you learned today? So if you could put that in the chat, or if you want to go live.
So someone already put morning walkabout.
Yay!
I have to say that one too. I was like, I do that with some people I'm close with, but not necessarily all of my team members. Be brave.
Nice.
Use a card. Evening checkouts.
Yay. I'm loving it. I'm loving
Yeah,
it.
lots of great things.
Yay, this is good. I'm glad you guys got some things out of it.
People are saying love the brave list.
Well, good.
Morning or lunch walk outside to decompress. Oh, isn't that the truth? I just find that I'm just sitting at my desk. Like,
Yeah.
definitely more walks, people are saying.
Yeah, because we won't be able to soon. The snow is coming. Let's just be honest, people. It's coming.
I reject that reality. Karen says, ask what I can do to support the team members.
Good.
Someone said, I want to see my offshore people now. Chat with coworkers at least 5 minutes every day.
Good. All right, that means you actually have to do these things. This is not just putting it in the chat and forgetting about it.
It's in writing. Yeah,
it's in writing, and we're going to hold you accountable to it. Do you have a way on your platform, Pam, or anybody else in the team, that they can post, like sort of like even use a hashtag to post publicly on your platform, like maybe a Facebook group or LinkedIn? So we want people to like post that they've actually done it, or talk about, well, Marie gave me this advice and it was horrible advice. It did not work. I'm okay with that. or it worked. It was really great. So I would love for you to have that public accountability between each other, maybe on your Facebook group.
Yeah. So we have a Slido hashtag. Bobby, can you throw that in the chat since I see you're still here?
Excuse me. My contact information is on the screen if anybody wants to reach out. I take complaints. I also take thank yous. I take it all. We don't have mailing lists that we put people on because we don't believe in that. So if you email me, you're not going to like all of a sudden get on a mailing list. We don't do that. If you want me to respond back, I'm happy to do that. If you're like, I just wanted to tell you, you're a nice person. Okay, that's great. Whatever. And, you know, we do have some other things that if you're ever interested in bringing your teams together, we do offer the following things that you see there. This is the only time you'll hear a pitch, which isn't really a pitch. It's more about, it's really our goal to help create better workplaces. And so if you ever need any training or content, please reach out. We're happy to provide it. And so those are just a few of the things that we can provide. And that's it. That's all she wrote. I'm done.
Thank you so much. So I will give you a couple more of the comments. Yeah, thank you. Everyone's saying thank you. Great presentation. I know I wrote down a lot of things to help me as well, because Ruben, he had a heart he held up. That's awesome. So we've gone low tech now. He has taken something you said and already put into action.
There you go. There you go.
So that's awesome. And so we can continue this conversation as well on our LinkedIn group. Bobby said, so usually we have posts out there after the meeting, so you guys can go ahead and chime in, which would be great. We love the interaction on LinkedIn or even on Facebook. So yeah, lots of great things. Thank you so much. I wrote down so many things. So I am not fully virtual, but we are all social distancing. So even if you're not work from home, you still are now sometimes in a virtual and you're not in a room together. And so while I have coworkers right next to me and I'm still going in, and so is our organization, you do still, like today I was on a headset here and someone in the other side of the room was also talking. So it's great to have these. So thank you so much. We look forward to hearing that feedback on our LinkedIn page. I appreciate it. And then don't forget to check out our website for any upcoming events that we have. We have lots of events happening every single month. I know that we have in October a lunch and learn, which is with on Agile's Unworkable Fantasies, True or False. And that is October 21st at noon. So always look for that. And then our November chapter meeting is out there for leading today's workforce. So if you have any questions, that's great, but I'm getting a lot of great food for thought, great presentations, things. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. And honestly, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you want some ideas. Again, we don't spam, so I'm happy to. Well, no, it's important this day and age because you go to these things and then all of a sudden you're on a mailing list and I'm like, that's not the point. It should be to be interactive. And please connect with me on LinkedIn because I'm always on LinkedIn. And so I'm happy to connect that way as well.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Bye. So Ruben, the thing that I learned, make sure you stop recording before you end the meeting.
Okay.
This is my lesson learned from you because I did it again today and lost my brown bag session with the PMP class.
Oh, so I need to stop the recording.
Yeah, you have to stop it before you end the meeting.
Okay.
And then it does its thing. If I've ended a meeting while it's still going, and then I've never ended up with a recording.
Oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and stop right now then.
Redney's asleep.